everybody. Welcome to It's in the Cards. It is Wednesday, April the 9th, and the weather's finally has sprung spring. The flowers are peeking out of the ground in the flower beds. I know we were wondering if they would or not because it's covered in snow and ice for so late into the year. Didn't think a lot of the bulbs and things would bloom, but they managed to come through. So maybe not in as intensity and as, quantity that normally is, but they've broken through. I have a special guest with me this evening that I personally know. I have had the privilege of working with him, both with readings and paranormal investigating. His name is George Schaefer Jr., and we will be discussing his abilities and a whole bunch of things. We'll be opening the phone lines to give out readings. He's had his gift since early childhood, and he was able to be an apprentice for 5 years with a shaman. And we're going to discuss that as well. And for those out there wondering what a shaman is, George will let you know all that. He also does readings besides the paranormal investigating. And the latest thing that I'm aware that he's done was something for me. I had somebody that needed a house cleansing and clearing done. And that was, 2 visits. I went the first day and went through to see what we were dealing with, paranormal or what have you. And then George willingly, nicely enough, with a close to an hour drive, offered to come down 2 days later after I had been through and do the house cleansing. So we will talk about that as well. I want to bring him on. Hi, George. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. How you holding out there, Misha? I know. You're having a rough day.
Yeah, a rough week.
Yeah, sciatic is not fun. I've done that. Try sitting to the side of the chair.
That's what I'm doing. Nothing seems to help this one.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, sorry to hear that. That was my best friend. Anyway, yes, like you said, I was fortunate enough to be an apprentice to a Native American shaman. At the time, her name was Shadow Wolf. I forget exactly what she goes by now, because as you progress in life and grow in your gifts, then the name is actually changed to fit the person. Actually, and I never really got that far. They gave me a name, boils down to Spirit Hawk. Basically because I see over things, and I can see the details, but I also can see the larger picture. And because I work with the spirits. I've had many teachers since then. People I never expected to teach me anything did. It's interesting. Everybody you run into always teaches you something, or you have the opportunity to teach them.
Absolutely, yes. You're never too old to stop learning.
Got that. When you stop learning, you might as well be in a grave.
Might as well. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So for those out there wondering exactly what a shaman is, what's the difference between that and just your regular Native American?
Okay, the shaman basically is the medicine person. In this case, it's a medicine woman. The one who basically is like us, that receives the messages from spirit, learns how to use the earth energy and spiritual energy or metaphysical energy to try and heal, to help someone with either spiritual problems, physical problems. It's all spirit guided. They're the ones that lead you into meditation, to find your visions and help you understand them. And they come to a deeper understanding of nature and its energies. I stayed there for, like I said, around 5 years. I don't have an exact date. And my time there was up because I found that we had a spot where my thoughts went one way and their teaching went another. So I graciously took what I learned. We parted on very good terms. And it was time for me to go find another teacher. And since then, I've had many. And people I had never expected. My brother-in-law helped me a lot. Our friendship, you helped me try and hone some of my things. Ask me questions, make me think. Sorry, I was just reading some of the comments. Very interesting. Thank you.
When do you, early childhood, how old, what's your earliest remembrance of something paranormal or psychic abilities? Were you waking up seeing spirit in the night? Or?
My first clear memory, I was around 7 or 8 years old. My grandfather was living with us and he had passed away. And I was pretty distraught, being pretty young. And he actually appeared to me in the house. It kind of shocked me, but then I knew it was him and relaxed pretty much right away, and he helped me. And since then, it was just constant. Sometimes I would feel nothing, other times I'd feel something. Somebody would come through. The more I sought into it, the more came through. Sometimes not so good. You have to learn to control it and to learn to block so you don't get the visitors you didn't want. I didn't have any teachers at the time, and I had some visitations I didn't care for. But we all learn.
How did you know at that age, since you had nobody around to teach you and things, how did you know you weren't just dreaming at that age?
I just know. I knew what I was seeing. I do remember when I was in kindergarten, a very simple thing of, for some reason, when my few members of kindergarten was on a test, they said, "Are ghosts real?" And I put yes, because I knew they were real. Of course, I was marked wrong, but I knew they were real. And boy, what a lesson after that. Since then, a lot of the things that I've learned to do is basically open myself up, helping people. I'm actually starting to try to meditate more and open more so I can actually read people on the draw or on the fly. My wife and I went to purchase a new bed when I threw out my back herniated disc. And while we were there, the sales lady's father came through. So after we got done all the business stuff, I sat there, looked there, said, "Excuse me, got a weird question for you." And then just started describing him, what I saw, and then was able to relay a message. And actually kind of brought her some comfort at the time. Friends of mine found me down in North Carolina. That's a long story, but I've done a lot of readings for them, and mostly by phone. And that was kind of new to me, and I do it all the time with them. Now they even send me pictures to try and get my take. And apparently I've been pretty accurate with the readings on them. When you open yourself, it's amazing what you can learn to do. And then when you've learned to go forward with your gift, it affects your everyday. That's one thing I found. It helps me at work. It helps me in personal life. I wish it helped me from, no, I never did get sick from withholding information. But it's, because there are some things I'm not supposed to tell. I've had things come to me where a gentleman friend of mine grew up, trying to remember where, he ran away to Thailand because his country was invaded by the Viet Cong. And his girlfriend that was killed in the invasion of his village came to me when he and I were talking, and she showed me the devastation that took place. And I was able to describe some things, but there's no way I was going to tell him everything that I saw. Because just some things you're not supposed to tell, just too much.
Well, okay. Extending on to that,
Okay.
why would information be given or shown to you, however it comes through for you, if it's not meant to be relayed to the person?
My feeling on that, especially in this situation, was she needed to get it out. It was a very emotional time for her. The emotions that I felt from her were extremely intense. And what she showed me, I basically had to filter for what I told him. I described some of it, but I didn't go into the detail. But I think the reason I think that she showed me everything that she did was to give me a better understanding of what my friend went through when he had to escape this village, what he lost, and why he had to hide in trees and run away to Thailand. And he actually did fight the Viet Cong. And he did join the army and helped helped in the Vietnam War against whichever side of Vietnam that was. Sorry, my history is not the greatest.
Mine neither. Okay, what stands out how do you get your information? Explain that for the viewers. Do you see, do you hear, do you get a little bit of everything? Does it differ depending on the situation?
It's been interesting. It starts off with how do I describe this? All right, a standard reading for somebody. Nothing's ever real, well, I shouldn't say standard, because none of them are ever the same. Sometimes I just suddenly know something. A lot of the times what will happen is it'll start off where I will see a shadow, or like somebody's in a shadow, or a dark profile of a person. And then as I start picking up on them a little bit or paying more attention, then they'll actually let me see certain parts of them, certain features. For some reason, they like to show me their hair first. Then I get feelings and emotions. I'll actually hear. It's hard to explain, but you don't hear with your ears. It's right. Inside.
Those voices in the head.
Yeah, I'm told I had voices in my head.
All the time.
Some of those voices I've had pretty good arguments with.
Yeah, right?
But I always lose for some reason. But yeah, I'll get a voice. Or actually, it's weird hearing but not hearing, especially when they have an accent. A friend of mine from Ukrainian descent. One of his past relatives came through. His grandmother, I think it was, and I couldn't understand a thing. I kind of did the best I could to describe what I'm hearing. I couldn't make out any words. Sorry, I was just reading his comments.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, they have medication for that, huh? Yeah, so I've been told. But yeah, I've tried to describe an accent. Like, she's saying something, but I can't understand it. There's this heavy accent, and then fortunately, I've been around. I've talked to a lot of people. I meet people from all over the world where I work, and so I've learned to differentiate some of the accents. And so I was able to pick out, okay, it sounds Russian to me. Well, that's part Ukrainian. I had somebody with a different accent that was German. It's interesting. I see it, I feel it. It comes through in pictures. Sometimes it's like they're playing a video in my head. I'll hear some of it. A lot of it is feeling. The strongest energy and power is emotion. And So that is the easiest for them to communicate back to us, is with emotion. I'll get sensations. A friend of mine, one of the guys at my work, his father came through, and I was able to describe him. And he was still being a skeptic, which is cool, and I welcome it. And then I started describing the pain in his hand and his legs, and then I told him about a leak at his mother's roof. At first I thought it was a gutter, then I realized that no, he showed me a leak in the roof. That's when my buddy started kind of, after he picked himself up off the floor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he almost fell over. I was like, wow, it's just, these things just come through. There's no standard way. I wish there was, but
I know we always joke with the investigating and going over, emailing the photos back and forth to one another after, because you would never see the obvious ones, spirits, in the photos.
yes.
You would be the ones that I'd be going, wait, get the magnifying glass. Where?
Oh
What do you
my
mean?
God.
What about this? Right here as plain as day. And you'd miss it. You would find the ones in the background.
I would find the ones you'd be looking at me saying, how the heck did you find that? And I'm looking at, and then then you'd be saying, how the heck did you miss this? Right in plain view. Yes. That's where I guess I kind of get into detail too much. And actually, that's something I'm working on, because when I'm doing the reading, sometimes I try to I focus in too much. I start trying to focus in too much into detail. And I've had to learn to kind of step back, get the mind out of it, and just let it flow and see the big picture instead of just the detail.
Right. Yeah,
So,
that's always funny. What? No! Upright! We both been like, how'd you see that? Why didn't you? Let's talk about the house cleansing. Because
Yes.
I know a lot of people were curious about that, and there's always a debate, and I have always been one, so have you, fees, even for readings, what you charge is always issues when people are going into this and wanting to do it for a living. And I have always been against charging to cleanse a home, because there, so many people out there do that like they do with readings, and they scare people to death. They might even just make things up, elaborating on what the homeowner is saying is there, just to scare them, and they're going to charge $200 or whatever to come in and cleanse the house. And we have always been under the belief that there shouldn't be a charge for that, for going in and helping somebody and cleansing the home. However,
Yeah, as we discussed, it's just like doing my readings. I always had a hard time accepting money for it, and I've had several people that are more popular than I, or they're better known, and tell me to charge, and kept explaining that it's for my time, and that the Native American Shaman, it was explained to me the shamans and all the medicine people of each different culture would always accept gifts as part of their payments. And I still have a hard time with it, but I do realize it takes a lot of my time. Just like that, there, you went there twice. You
Right.
left them. You left them a sage bundle that cost you money.
Right.
You used your gas to get there. I used my gas to get there.
And you were 45 minutes to an hour away.
About 45 minutes.
40, yeah.
Yeah.
So traveling alone for you was an hour and a half.
Yeah. To me, it's nothing, but
Right.
it's my time away from home. Like everybody else. it's you have plenty to do at home. You got family. Myself, if I go out to do a party, I haven't done very many of them lately. It's been a while. Hope to get some soon. But I've finally come to the agreement that I will charge. And I'm even starting to think about for like my fundraise because it's time I'm taking away from the family. It's something that like you and I were discussing. It's taking our time, our equipment, and it's time. It's time I could be spending with my wife or my daughter out fishing. Trying to fix stuff.
Resting.
What's that?
Or resting, catching up with
Resting.
sleep, anything.
Yeah, sleep. What's that?
Yeah, I know. I haven't had any recently.
It's I've actually gotten to the point where, like, when I do the parties, I want to know nothing about money. I leave that up to the host of the party. And then, like, if I do a reading for somebody and I get nothing for them, I tell the host if they paid, give it back, because I cannot accept money without providing a service. When we're doing house cleansings, like I said, you left them a sage bundle. I left them tobacco. I used my sage. I used my cedar to go around and cleanse this place. Granted, that was a very easy cleansing. There really wasn't much there. But that's money out of our pocket. I guess I'm in a different realm. You and I are both kind of in a different group where a lot of people are doing this stuff to make money. And neither one of us are actually looking to make a fortune off this. This by no means is my income. It's me. It's my life. I just do this. It's a gift to me. It's a gift from God, and it's for me to help others. And I'm trying to think fast. It's not working.
Well, we want to open up phone lines tonight.
Oh, we have a phone call?
Make calls for anybody that wants to call in. So we're going to do that. There's a few rules for anybody new to the show that's never been here before. Welcome. And if you are calling in, the first rule is to have the volume turned down or the show turned off. Otherwise, we're just going to get the feedback come through and not going to be able to hear you. The next thing is that we need a specific question, not just, let's see what you're picking up on me. Obviously, we don't have time to do something like that. So we want to keep it very structured and focused and to the point with your questions. And the third one is when we are on the line with a caller, we need you to please wait until we are done with that current caller because we do not have the ability to put you on hold. So as soon as we're through with a caller and you're waiting patiently to call in, as soon as we're done and they hang up, you can give us a call and get through that way. George, do you have anything that are you able to or not able to do communication, mediumship this way?
Not that I haven't. I don't think I'll have any limitations. They need to talk to us, have something in mind, so we can get it so we can get a faster connection. Working with you, you know that we've kind of discovered a few things. You doing a reading for somebody with your tarot cards. I'm Facebooking with you, and next thing we know, I'm doing a reading for the person as well. So they got a 2-for-1 deal. Yeah. I never know what can happen.
Right.
It's open mind, see what happens. I have not left very many unsatisfied. Only once did I actually have to have somebody give the money back. The lady came back to me later at another time, and I was finally able to get her to think about somebody, because she came in just like you said, just like, I just want to see what you get on me. Yeah, well, she wasn't drawing on anyone, and there's no one there to knock on her door. As soon
Right.
as she started thinking about her father a little bit, boom, I was in. I was able to describe him, describe what hobbies he had, all of his different works, um, and I was able to do the reading for her and make her very happy. And actually, that's usually once I can get in the door, and then I actually start seeing others behind. There'll be one like right up in front of me, and then there'll be others behind them. I'm reaching towards them, I'm trying to reach away, get used to this, and then I'll actually see them stacking up. Because once it's like being the light. I don't want to say light at the end of the tunnel, like a lighthouse at night,
Right.
except in the spirit world. And once you're in and you're connected to somebody, and you actually reach someone there, all the others see that light and they come running or floating in this case. Sorry, I'm kind of smiling at some of the comments there.
Okay. The chat room, yeah.
In the chat room.
um,
I think Robin Marie needs to call in. Sounds like an interesting person.
She is. She is. I had her on the show. I'm going to be setting her up to come back on.
Cool. Unfortunately, I've never stopped long enough to catch a show. I'm going to try.
I know, with your off hours and, no set schedule and everything else, it's tough.
Yeah.
I want to address the house cleansing.
Yes.
Because I never really discussed that in detail on the show. And the things that you brought in to use to do it with. And, you mentioned that a little while ago, tobacco and cedar and things like that. You want to explain why or what the purpose of those specific things are to the viewers?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Everyone knows use sage. Sage is an herb you can easily grow. I have some growing on my deck. It's commonly known for doing cleansing. Brings in the good energies. Actually, I even have a book to help me along here. One of the first books I ever read was, here you go, Shamanic Wisdom by Dolphin. Helped me a lot. And he actually explains in here what the different things are. If I can find it real quick. I use cedar to bring in a stronger energy and do basically a stronger push. Sage is basically your first line. Then you bring in cedar. That's like your second line for another level of energy for doing the cleansing. And then I also use, I can never say it right, I want to say copal. That puts out a lot of energy. If you have some strong spiritual energy in there that you really need to push out, basically it puts out enough energy. It's like giving a shotgun blast of energy to either I don't want to say destroy them, but be too much and they're gone.
Now, the stuff we're talking about that you went to, and I had gone through a couple days prior to that.
Yes.
That it was what was there for the most part that was overpowering everything was residual.
Yes.
And residual from the past tenants because it was a home that was being rented. So, constant changeover with families moving in and out and things like that. Now, the residual that we picked up on, most of it was from past tenants, not residual from anybody that was there in spirit. Although there was a spirit there looking, wondering what's what.
Yeah, there's a couple. The main two types of hauntings or spiritual activity in a home is residual activity which most everyone's familiar with now, these terms anyway, but residual activity where it's energy left behind by certain events. And sometimes the house acts like the VCR playing back the tape recorder. Yes, I know, everyone watches DVD now, but let's go older school. And just kind of keeps playing it over and over again of this one thing that kept happening. Or like one major event that happened, so now it keeps happening in the house, but it's only a residual reminder. There's no true explanation for why this happens, other than the amount of immense energy there. Then you also have intelligent spiritual activity, where there's an intelligent spirit that is there and can actually communicate with you, just like you and I are now. Most spirits are just, it's a person that was alive, body's dead, but this person inside is still going. And they're still there. The body is water and electric, it's energy. Well, when the body stops being there, you no longer have the physical containing that, so now the energy is all around. Then with the residual, emotions, strong emotions, like I said earlier, emotions are your strongest form of energy, and that's why a traumatic event or some major event that brought about a lot of emotion, a lot of energy, will leave an impact in that house. I remember you and I picked up on some good energies, we'll say, residual energy in the basement.
Yes.
I'm not going to go into detail, but it was good energy from good times. And then upstairs, we were picking up on negative energy, seeing a repeat through our third eye. We were able to see a repeat of certain traumatic events that took place. But with those things, there was nothing intelligent about them. So all we did was went in to try and cleanse that energy from the house so it would not affect the new tenants. The one intelligent energy there, or entity, was the old lady, who she lived there, and she made herself known to both of us and made it known that she was intelligent and she was going to watch over the tenant's children or child. And actually, no, children. That's right. They had one. They had one.
And on the way, and
yeah. But she was very peaceful, and that's the nice thing about spirits is they have a hard time being deceptive, other than dark energies. Because when you get into the spirit realm, there are multiple levels of spirits and types, and no one's ever been able to document it because it's such an unknown area. That's why when people talk to me about it, I try to keep an open mind because everyone experiences something different. But here I am rambling. Sorry.
That's okay, but I want to get into that with you too.
Okay.
Let's finish up what you were saying.
Okay. Yeah, just I'm trying to go back there. Sorry, a little bit of ADD kicked in. Yeah, basically all it is, we pretty much said it all there. We went in to cleanse out all the energy left behind from the prior activities, and the woman there, did not need to be cleansed out. And if she was negative with what I did, would have pushed her out. I've worked on houses where there was stronger negative spirits, darker spirits, and that's when I'd use the copal and to try and push them out. That one, I actually have to say, worked for a little while, but it came back, and that is pretty much due to some of the items that the people that are living in that place have still from practicing dark magic, which they did not disclose to me beforehand. I kept asking because I knew something was up, and they just kept denying, kept denying, kept denying. It wasn't until about a month later that the daughter, who's in her 20s, finally said, "Oh yeah, I used to do dark magic and still have the items in my closet." Duh. And you wonder why they came back.
Now, what is your view? You and I have discussed this, but the viewers are always interested in this. With the dark negative energy, do you believe there's actual demons or just mean, nasty spirits because they were mean people when they were living?
I believe in both. I've had the unfortunate displeasure of seeing an extremely dark spirit that I would have to describe as being a demon. Fortunately, it was only through the third eye, not in physical presence. That was when I was first learning in my late teens, early 20s, and starting to open myself up and didn't quite learn how to put up the filter and block things. And then there are the dark spirits that are basically people, they were, pardon the language, they're a bastard in life and they're a bastard in death. And they just never change. They're the ones that basically want to be a dark spirit. My religious belief, basically I was raised in a Baptist home. I married a Catholic woman, poor lady. I'm not sure she's forgiven me yet. I'm not sure her mother or my mother have forgiven me yet either. But I kind of, yeah, I was raised to believe in demons and the devil. But the thing is that we all know religion, they all like to shut the door when you get into our area.
Right.
I stepped out of the organized religion because I realized there's a lot more. And like I said, I've seen what I can only describe as a demon. I've also seen.
We have a caller.
Oh,
Hello?
wow.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, are you there?
Hello?
Hello?
Sir, can you hear us? I heard a male voice.
You might have heard me. I'm asking them if they were there. It looks like they just hung up. Maybe they'll call back.
Okay.
All right, please do.
Call back. Whoever that was. So go ahead.
Okay. I want to say to Rob and Marie, thank you very much. I haven't bothered trying to log in on the chat thing. I'm a man. I cannot multitask very well, and I have ADD. So I can do one thing, then another thing, but I kind of bounce all over the place. I got focus. Well, sir, whoever was it just called, please call back. Ah, Morgan.
Morgan. Hey, Morgan.
Morgan,
Hi.
my cuz. Hey, Morgan. Okay, who's that?
Are you there?
Hello?
Hi. I need to ask you to turn the show down because we're getting the
Turn the show-
Yes.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. Working on it. Darn it. Gotta turn the show off. Okay. Okay, I am trying to get in on your chat room and I can't get in on the chat room, so I figured I'd call.
Michelle.
Okay. Well, thank you for calling.
Hi, George.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. What can we do for you?
Well, I just tuned in and I'm interested to know how you work that clearing.
Pretty much, I went in. I did what my shaman teacher taught me for giving honor to the four main directions, and to Mother Earth, Father Sky, the Great Spirit within, and then I did my cleansing, clockwise throughout the house. It was a very simple cleansing.
Yeah, did you use the drums and do the whole ceremonial?
No, No, there was no
No?
need for that on this one. No. Each
No,
cleansing.
Oh,
residual. There was no spirits or anything that needed to be released in this one, Michelle. How you doing?
yeah. I'm good. How are you?
I'm terrific, thanks.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed I can't get in on the chat room because I wanted to get involved in the conversation.
Huh.
But
Huh.
I just wanted to call and check in, and I was a little surprised that you were doing cleansings. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was one of the first things that my shaman teacher taught me. And
Yeah.
but don't worry. When it gets to the heavier cleansings, I keep you in mind. I've actually referred you a few times. Because yeah, for those watching the show, this is Michelle Fox. She and I have been friends for many years too, and she's very good when it comes to the dark energies and trying to cleanse them out. It's an area that I kind of held back from. I see them, I deal with them as I need to, and I try not to personally. Everyone has a special area of expertise, and Michelle Fox is very good at clearing out the darker, stronger energies. I've actually referred to her a few times. And what's funny is when my mother passed, I had such an emotional block on it. She actually came through to me right after she passed, which was very interesting because the first thing she said was, "I'm sorry, and you were right." Because being the strong Baptist, she always told me anything spiritual, my ghost hunting and all that, was always, it's all demons. It's all demons. They're all demons. If you die, you go to heaven. Yeah. Reread Revelations, Mom. I tried telling her that. That was a bad argument. But then later on, I was having a hard time. And Michelle actually got messages for me and helped me out quite a bit. So I've since learned to open up and be able to receive more from myself, but I still once in a while actually have to refer to somebody else. You know, I can read others, but I can't read myself.
Well, that's normal.
Yes.
That's normal. But speaking of readings, are you doing any tonight?
And yeah.
Yeah.
And okay. And so you're looking for one. Yeah, I haven't gotten to read you in a long time. In a very long time. Well, usually you know everything before I can tell you anyway.
Lots of things been secret and surprising me lately, so I thought I'd take a chance and see what you were seeing in there.
All right, let me see what I can get for you, Michelle. Give me a couple moments here.
Okay.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for? Try and give me direction.
Just basic, direction,
Basic direction. All right, you guys are you looking at the possibility of selling the house?
Yes.
Okay, and you're trying to figure out whether or not that's the right thing to do for finances and where you guys are going to go after that. And I'm seeing that you've got that, unfortunately, due to your medical conditions, you've got quite the hefty load upon you. And you're looking at the desperation. That's your only direction to go. Am I right?
Right.
Okay.
Correct.
Unfortunately, I'm not seeing any kind of windfalls coming your way. Jerry's working sporadically, isn't he? Not as much as he'd like to.
Well, he's working, just not as much money.
Okay, that's what it is, not as much money. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Before you sell the house, figure out exactly what you're going to get in, how much is this actually going to benefit you, and where are you going to go? Are you going to be able to afford to get someplace? Don't put yourself homeless. As long as you make payments, the hospitals can't do much of anything. Been there, done that. State also has programs to help. I had to rely upon the state when I had no insurance, and I had leg injury, and I was working for myself doing concrete. Right? If you can't get down the ground, you can't pour concrete. And 2.5 months of not working kind of did me in. I'm really getting the feeling you really need to reconsider selling the house. Maybe look within. What is there that you own that you don't need and you can sell? And go from there. Are you still doing your house? Are you? Okay. Never mind. I just answered that. You've laid off on everything because of your medical condition. Perhaps you need to get back into some of your cleansings, some of what you do, and do as Misha and I have been talking about, which is allow yourself to say, hey, look, this is, set a fee. I know it's hard to. I don't like setting fees. Or at least say, look, I'm open for donations. This is taking my time and my gas and my supplies. Be open to accepting donations. You've got such a good heart. You're like us. You don't want to charge anything. You've been given a gift. You want to help. And that's where Misha and I have been talking, is whether or not to charge. But you have a gift, make use of it, and allow it to help you, especially in this situation where you need an income.
We start wrapping it up, George, because
okay.
we have to say goodbye to the guests. I was hoping to get another poll.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
right.
Mr. I'll cut you off.
We'll connect again, Michelle. Did I help you?
That's okay. Yes, you did. Very much so. Thank you.
All right, cool.
And
Thank
you guys have a good night.
In. Nice
right.
talking to you.
Thank you for calling.
Nice talking to you. Bye-bye.
Right,
Bye-bye. We have time for one more very quick call. If anybody wants to call in. And in the meantime, there's a couple new people, names in there that I asked if they knew you or me, because they're just, using a name, a generic name, and they don't, so welcome. And you can find It's in the Cards on Facebook, so you can look the show up there and see each week what's coming on. You can find me, tarotbymisha.com, and Tarot by Misha on Facebook as well. And George, you can find you where?
Okay, unfortunately, I don't have a website. It's costing me, I got nothing out of it. So the best way to find me is either email, which is george.psychic@yahoo.com, or on Facebook, I have a group page, Spiritual Connections by George Shaver, or with George Shaver. Please, you can look me up that way. My phone number's on there. I think at least send me an email. I really don't want to put my phone number out over the web unless everyone can agree not to call me after 9 p.m. or before 9 a.m. Because if I'm not working, I'm sleeping or fishing. In the evening, I need time for my family. Robin Marie, awesome. We definitely need to connect somehow. She says she builds websites. Problem is, it costs money, and I don't have that to put out. That's pretty much it. Facebook or email.
What do you have upcoming?
What do I have upcoming? Not a whole lot at the moment, aside from work and family. A friend of mine sent me a picture tonight that I need to look at, to read for her, tell her what I think of this person. I told her, she said that she wants me to look at it. I told her I want to know nothing, just to pick. Then pretty much that's about it right now.
We had a rough. The winter was so rough this year that you just didn't line anything up. You just lost track of time, and we all had the blahs, I think.
Yeah, I am working on, got to make contact with a person for a lead paranormal investigation at an old church, actually the church I was married in, up in Ottsville. There's a lot of activity in there. The foundation predates Civil War. Actually, I think it goes back to colonial times. The building had burned down, then they rebuilt it. Absolutely beautiful little chapel. And where it's going to be to try and raise funds for for maintaining that building, because the Catholic Church has kind of turned its back on it. So there are a few volunteers that are working on it. We just can't let them know that we're raising money, because then, of course, the bigger company wants every dollar. So we're trying to do this a little under the radar, but it's just to raise money to maintain that. And I'll be putting that on on my group site for psychic. I'm sorry, not psychic, George, for spiritual connections on the group site. There's also my group site of Upper Bucks Paranormal Investigations on Facebook. That was my first group, and then I decided to do the psychic one. And so I'm hoping to do that in about a month or so. I got to contact her and try and get that set up. Now that's warm.
Now that the snow has stopped.
Yeah, when we did it, it dropped down to about 10 degrees and was frigid and started snowing. So
Yeah. That was just about any day of this past winter. that was just the winter we had.
yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
What was it, 17 snowstorms or something?
I lost count.
Yeah, I know. Well, I will love to have you on again and do this again with you. And I was going to say next week's Easter, but no, this Sunday's Palm Sunday. We still have one more show before Easter. Hopefully, by then I will be able to sit still, and my sciatica will be healed for the second time in 2 months.
Okay. I just wanted to real quick say thank you to everybody that checked in on the chat room. Sorry that we weren't able to get to everybody. Looks like Robin had things taken care of there. She seems awesome.
She is.
So,
I'm again.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, what have we got? 7 minutes?
Ran out of. We've got like 3 minutes. I wanted to touch on the next time you're on, but you're able to do body scans, and
Yes.
and what people might want to go get checked out medically.
Yes, yes. That's one of the many things that I've discovered is looking at somebody and trying to go over and figure out, okay, what is wrong, where the problem is. See, for you, it's definitely in your lower, obviously your lower back, your sciatic that's pinched. So that's not some psychic, that's common knowledge. L4. I keep hearing L4. That's lumbar 4. Let me know and get it checked.
I have another chiropractor appointment tomorrow morning.
Chiropractor doesn't check. I think you're looking at herniated disc. He can help, but you need to talk to your family doctor.
Yeah, and you know how that goes.
Yeah, you're more stubborn than I am.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's only 4 days old, so we'll see. If it does start improving by next week and I can't sit still, then yeah, something more has to be done.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, George, for coming on this evening, and thank you to all the viewers out there and the new viewers. Thank you for joining, and Michelle, thanks for phoning in. With that, I want to wish everyone a fabulous week, and I'll see you next Wednesday night. Bye-bye.
Okay.